Hello. Again, apologies for the delay, but I just got to watch all of your clips and great work. I love seeing the improvement. Good job, setting the expectations. I loved when you were whispering. All of that. And let me see, I'm looking at your reflection. Yeah, if anything, it's tricky just with that age for anyone to keep them at the table. I would though, after that, after he spelled tradition, he was super on it, so that could count as your spell only warm up, and then who knows, maybe going to greens for the rest of it might just be that much more engaging and challenging for him on a higher kind of cognitive demand that will help keep his body there and regulated. I would, and I commented on this, I think, on the forum, but whenever you're doing those spell onlys, just be really mindful of the words that you choose to spell out loud. Depending on different ages, I might choose different words. I always spell out like names and things, but I think at one point you spelled out like red and a couple other things like that, and it was just, I usually typically pick like 3 to 4 words in a chunk that I read out loud too, because you want to find a nice flow when you're reading it. And then, ideally they're words that are age appropriate, and then maybe what you think they might not know the spelling, or just something that really is important that pertains to that lesson. And also remember too, when he's spelling a word, instead of having to say, like, if he's spelling program, and he's on the A, instead of like, okay, you got P-R-O-G-R, okay, next letter A, P-R-O-G-R-A, instead of that, then just find that flow of after A is, next letter, look for it, find it. Also remember to, and this is just something that everyone does, and even when I do it sometimes, I just make a note of it, just kind of how I would say if I ever have an unreliable speaker that is asking the same question over and over again, I would just, I do the whole, hey, I'm not ignoring you, but I know this is unreliable, so I'm just going to keep pushing through because I know you know the answer. And same goes with when you ask a client a question or ask them to do a spell word. You just have to say it once. And if I do repeat it, then I'll frame it with, hey, I know you know the question, but just to get it in my brain, I'm gonna repeat it out loud one more time. There was one time, I think he was going up to the top row, so I use a lot of like jump up, top row, upstairs, lift those eyes up, eyes on that top row, get ready. Sometimes with the kind of grabbing or hair, this or that, I mean, you did amazing, you didn't really react. I do prompts like, okay, let's try straighten out those fingers or release your fingers. I'll tell them like, dig deep, you're in control, like you have a strong mind, tell your body, let's try and get your hand on your lap, things like that. That was awesome. First time using the number board, and he was super accurate. Typically, I'll always kind of comment on the fact that with the number boards, because they're used so rarely, you do a lot more prompting until, they get used to it. And yeah, I also noted I loved when you really brought down the tone to the whisper. And he seemed to really take it well too. So keep going with that if need be, and then just remember to start challenging you and his relationship and doing more of those greens. Thanks.